Hi everybody, welcome to the first lesson from the GD Literature book, and we're going to be going through the answers that you've already finished. So have a look at the video and hopefully you'll see how you find the answers from the passage. So before we start, because this is the first page in this new lesson, there are some key terms that you need to know. Now all of these terms are useful when we're looking at stories or narratives. A story, a fiction, something that's not true, has a plot. And plot just means what happens in the story, all of the action, all of the events. The exposition, well, the exposition you could just simply call the introduction. Who are the characters that are going to be in the story? What are the events that are going to happen in the story? Where does the story happen? The introduction will set the scene so that you understand what happens later in the story. Most stories are based on conflict. Conflict is a problem that occurs. Think about all of the stories that you've heard in your life. There's always some kind of conflict. Whether it's Sleeping Beauty, who's a princess that's asleep that needs a kiss from a prince to wake up, or it's some fairy tale where some girl is locked away by her wicked aunt, or a war movie where like Saving Private Ryan, where somebody needs to be found and saved and taken back to their family. It doesn't matter. Any of these things are conflicts, problems that happen that need to be solved. A complication is something going wrong, something that must be overcome. The climax is where the tension gets very high. Now, the tension is where you're really worried. You don't know what's going to happen. Tension means between two different people, and you don't know how this is going to be solved. And you might want to look at the word tension in the dictionary just to get a better idea. But at the climax, you don't know if the hero is going to succeed or die. You don't know if they're going to finally be able to get married or not. You don't know what is going to happen. And so you are in suspense. You're waiting to find out. And the final part of a plot is the resolution. It's the solution. It's the end of the story. So, question 1. How did the boy and the woman meet? The boy was trying to help the woman carry her heavy purse. The woman was the boy's teacher. The boy stole a purse from the woman. The woman and the boy are neighbors. Or the boy tried to take something that belonged to the woman. Now, for question number 1, it says, how did they meet? So the meet might be in the exposition, in the beginning of the story. So we should be looking at the first paragraph. And the first paragraph says about the woman walking along and she had lots of things in her bag. And then if you look down at line 6, it says a boy ran up behind her and tried to snatch her purse. The strap broke and the boy gave it from behind, and the boy's weight and the weight of the purse combined caused him to lose balance. And the boy fell on the sidewalk. His legs were up in the air. So he flies backwards, his legs go up in the air. He does not succeed. He's not trying to help the woman, he's trying to take her bag. It's not that the boy is the student, he doesn't say that, he doesn't say they're neighbors either. We have to look very carefully at number 3 and number 5. Number 3 says the boy stole the purse. Number 5 says the boy tried to take something. And the key is that in the passage it says he tried to snatch. To snatch means to steal, to take. But he fell over. And when he fell over, he failed to take her purse. So 3 is wrong. The correct answer is number 5. He tried to take it, but he fell over and he did not succeed. Question 2. Which of the following best describes the woman's first reaction? She dragged him off behind her. Well, that happens later, but it's not the first reaction. She called him a liar. She kicked him in the seat of his pants. She ran after him, or she called the police. Well, she cannot run after him because we know from the first question that he already fell on the floor. So number 4 is going to be wrong. and drag him off, but he's on the floor. So that is also going to be wrong. So we only have options 2, 3, or 5 left. It says the large woman simply turned around and kicked him right square in his blue jeans sitter. Sitter means where you sit down, so on your ass. And she kicked him square in his ass. So she kicked him up the ass. He's on the floor, his legs are up in the air. She turns round and she kicks him in the ass. So what does she do? The answer would be number 3. She kicked him in the seat of his pants. Question number 3. Based upon the information in the excerpt, which of the following is the woman most likely to do to the boy? Most likely to do means in the future, so we're probably looking down at the end of the passage now. Take the boy to her house and speak to his parents. Take the boy to her house to wash his face. Take the boy to the police station. Give the boy money and send him away. Or let the boy go. So what happens? Well, it says the woman started dragging the frightened boy behind her. She drags the boy with her. So she's taking the boy somewhere. So we can take away answer number 4 and answer number 5. These are both wrong. She doesn't give him money. She doesn't send him away. She doesn't let the boy go. She takes him somewhere. So the question is, where does she take him? Does she take the boy back to the boy's house? Does she take the boy back to her house? Or does she take the boy to the police? Well, she says, your face is dirty. Ain't you got nobody home to wash your face? Now, you can tell this is an African-American lady because it says, ain't you? And then the boy says, none, which means no ma'am. Ma'am is the traditional way of African-Americans addressing older African-American ladies. Well, the woman asks the boy, have you got somebody at home to wash you, to take care of you? And the boy says no. And the woman says, then it will get washed this evening. So if there's nobody at home to take care of him, she cannot be taking him home. And the police are not going to wash his face. So the best answer is 2. She's going to take the boy back to her house and wash his face. Question number 4. Which of the following is the most likely reason for Feather's response to her father? Well, what is her response? She says, "Hi, Daddy," Feather screamed. She was so excited to see me after all those hours of sleep that she ran right for me and banged her nose against my knee. She was so excited after all those hours of sleep. Well, number 1 says she is happy to see her father. So number 1 is going to be the correct answer. Question 5. From the details in the excerpt, it is possible to infer that Jesus has a problem with his vocal cords, which means he cannot speak, is responsible for making breakfast for his family every morning. Now, I know you might choose number 2, but it says that he is cooking breakfast down in line 18, but it doesn't mean that he cooks breakfast all the time. Just because he's cooking breakfast here does not mean that he's cooking breakfast every time. So it's not going to be answer 2. Chooses not to talk to other people, is in danger of failing high school, or does not budget his money well. Well, let's look. Jesus hadn't said a thing in 13 years. So Jesus has not spoken any words in 13 years. He wrote me notes, usually about the money he needed and events at school. So he's not speaking. So maybe it's answer number 1, or maybe it's answer number 3. What does it say? Well, it says the doctor said that he was healthy. The doctor said he was healthy and he could talk if he wanted to. Well, number 1 says he's got a problem, but the passage says he is healthy. So the correct answer is number 3. He chooses not to talk to other people. So, question 6. Which of the following describes the conflict, the problem between Feather and her father? We have various options here. Feather thinks she is too old. The father does not know what is happening in his daughter's life. Feather has a bad temper. Feather feels hurt. Her father is not paying her enough attention when she gets hurt. Or the father does not understand that his daughter is frightened by her dream. Well, here is the explanation about the dream. So being frightened about the dream is not going to be the correct answer. Also, if you look around here, if you look further up, the bit I've not actually got on the video, but if you're going up to the top, she runs to him. She hugs him at the beginning of the passage. And so she doesn't think she's too old to be hugged by her father. No, the actual answer in the passage is looking around here. She says, "You hurt me." But the father says, "Do you want peanut butter or salami for lunch?" So the daughter is saying, "You hurt me," but the father does not ask, "How did I hurt you? Do you feel okay?" No, the father just says, "What do you want to eat?" So Feather feels her father is not paying enough attention after she gets hurt. The answer is number 4. 7. Which of the following is the best explanation for the author's repeated use of the word smell? So we need to look at this idea. Thanksgiving is a holiday in America where the families get together, and it was Thanksgiving. Originally, it was Thanksgiving because the Pilgrims had got through the first year in America without dying, and they had everything that they needed, so they wanted to give thanks to God. Now, today, Thanksgiving is just a holiday where families get together. So he says, "Nothing smells like a good bird in the oven, like turkey, like chocachon." And then later on, he keeps saying he smelled it all morning. He smelled it when he woke up. He smelled it when he woke up, and then he'd gone on the bus. He'd traveled on the bus across the state line into Maine. Now, the key, if he can smell it in the morning when he's in a different state, this can't really be the smell of the turkey, because you wouldn't be able to smell it if you're in a different house. So answer 1 must be wrong. It's a bird in the oven, a bird meaning a chicken or a turkey. So it's not going to be lasagna. Lasagna is pasta. So 3 is wrong. It's not going to be thinking about how wonderful Janet was as a cook, because he can smell it before he leaves his house when he's in a different state. So we take away answer 5. Now, it's not smelled when he sees Sean, so it's not about the reaction. Actually, it's about the importance of the holiday. Answer number 2 is the correct answer. He's got memories. He can remember the smell of the turkey from the year before. He's excited to be going to see his family for Thanksgiving. So the answer is number 2. Number 8. Based on the information in the excerpt, which of the following can be inferred? And remember, inferred means not stated directly. Mike Sr. does not see his family very often. Mike Sr. has a close relationship with Sean. Mike Sr. lives nearby. Janet enjoys spending time with Mike Sr. The family did not eat meat. Well, we can take away answer number 5, because if they normally eat turkey, then they normally do eat meat. So number 5 has to be wrong. Now, if we look at the passage, he smelled it during the night, and he smelled it as the bus crossed the state line into Maine. Now, if he has to travel from one state to another state, then he definitely does not live nearby. So we can also take away answer number 3. And if they're living in different states, then you can guess that they do not have a close relationship. No, the answer is actually going to be answer number 1. He does not see his family very often. How do we know that? Well, he has to travel by bus, and he has to go from one state to another state to meet his family. So that's why the answer is number 1. Number 9. If Janet served frozen dinners what would Mike Sr.'s response most likely be? To refuse to eat, to offer to take them to a diner, to a restaurant, to pretend that it was lasagna, to continue pretending it was turkey, or to say it was delicious and ask for another helping? Well, let's have a look at this passage. So we can see here that Jana is making lasagna. And she doesn't use garlic, she does not use cheese, so she's not using anything expensive, but she tries to make it palatable. Palatable means edible. So she's taking some very cheap food, maybe you think like Thadu, if we're thinking about brighter futures, and she's not using very many ingredients, but she's trying to find a way to make it edible. So that suggests that she doesn't have a lot of money. But after we know that she's cooking lasagna, Mike Sr. says, and how heavy is it this year? Because he wants to know how heavy the turkey is. And he felt it was his duty to take part. He felt it was his duty to continue to pretend that they were having a normal family meal for Thanksgiving. 7.5. This again is the weight of the turkey. 7 pounds on the scrawny side. Scrawny side means very small. So how do we know it's not talking about the age? Well, it talks about pounds. Pounds is like kilograms. Like yeah, it's the old weight. It's like kilograms. So we're talking about weight. We're talking about the food. And even though we know that the lady is cooking a basic food, actually the old grandfather keeps talking about it like it's a bird. So he's pretending that it's a turkey. So we can guess that even if it was something even cheaper, like a frozen meal, like something from 7-Eleven, he would continue to pretend it was turkey, because eating turkey is the tradition. So they're talking about their traditional food, what they normally do, and pretending that they're not so poor. I know these questions were quite difficult, especially these last 3 questions. There's a lot of general knowledge that you might not have about American holidays. So sometimes you have to take a guess. Sometimes it's just good to take away wrong answers. Like for this one, there's nothing in the passage about him refusing to eat, so we would take that away. There's nothing in the passage about going to a restaurant, so we would take that one away. And he doesn't actually start to eat it, so we don't know if he would ask for more, so we can take that one away. All we would be left with is he pretends it's lasagna, or he pretends it was a turkey. And as we can see from here, he's pretending it's a turkey, not pretending it's lasagna. So even though you get questions like this where you don't really know the background, it's important to try and take away the wrong answers and then guess from what you have learned.